Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're checking out the PlayArts guy, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Vincent Valentine. So this is a pretty old figure. It came out in 2013, so this is one of the original AC figures ever made by PlayArts Kai. So I know a lot of you guys missed out on this figure, so I thought today we would check it out. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's get into the review. Alright, stay tuned, guys.
Take it slow.
Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the packaging. So on the front we have a pretty nice photo of the figure itself. And down here we have the Final Fantasy VII AC and PlayArts Kai logos. And it's pretty much the same on the sides of the packaging. So on the back we have a couple of screenshots of the figure itself in various poses. Pretty high quality photos. And on the inside of the packaging we have a little bit of text right here. So if you guys want to read this, then by all means, feel free to pause and read. It's just a little bit about the film and the character of Vincent. And here we have a pretty nice photo of the actual figure itself. And this is a nice window display packaging to showcase the figure inside the box with all the accessories. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a quick look at how I display all of my PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII AC figures. So here we have Vincent Valentine in the back, and I've got him displayed next to Barrett's, Sid, and Red 13. And just ignore Belthier, I just don't have a place to display the figure, so I just had to display him there. But yeah, here's a look at the figures in case you guys want to check it out. So this is pretty much my entire PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII collection. I think I have all the figures. I am waiting for a couple of the remake figures. So I will have a review of those figures once they arrive. So if you guys want to check them out, then they will be on the channel. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into the review. Okay, so let's go right ahead and take a look at the head sculpts. So now I've got to say, I love this head sculpt. I mean, it is a pretty outdated piece considering the figure is like, what, 10 years old? But you know, I still love the head sculpt a lot. It's by no means the best head sculpt out of all the figures. And the Dirge of Cerberus Vincent Valentine is probably a much better figure. But I mean, with that being said, I still love this figure a lot. As I mentioned before, it was one of the original PlayArts Kai AC figures ever made. So I think for one of their first figures, they did a super nice job. And I think this may have been the first figure that I ever picked up from the PlayArts Kai AC line. But anyhow, let's take a look at the head sculpts and the details. So as you can see, the eyes are painted a pretty dark red, and there's quite a nice outline around the eyes, painted black. Even around the eyes are shaded black, so it just makes him look super mysterious. It's kind of hard to see his face because it's kind of covered up by the cloak. But you can just about see his face in there. And of course he has his bandana sculpted in there. And the hair is also pretty nicely done as well. You can see all the strands of hair sculpted in here. And it's also made out of like a soft piece of plastic. You can just see all the details that they've added in there. And it's also very nicely painted. As you can see, it's not just completely painted red. We have different tones here like dark red, light red. It's just very, very nicely done. And as you can see at the edges of the cloak, it's very ripped up. It's completely tethered, which is quite a nice attention to detail. And right over here we have all these belts and buckles holding the cloak piece together. I mean, just the designs from Final Fantasy VII AC are probably my all-time favorite designs for all these Final Fantasy VII characters. I just love these designs so much. I mean, Final Fantasy AC was the first time that I was introduced to Final Fantasy VII, so I think that's probably why the designs are my favorites. And moving down here to the waist of the figure. So once again we have all these belts and buckles sculpted in there. Quite nicely done. And then here we have the hands of the figure and the other hand with this really cool gold gauntlet piece. I mean, the thing I love most about this figure is probably the paint, and it just really stands out. And I guess this is a better look at the rest of the cloak piece. And once again, all of the edges are completely ripped up, it's completely destroyed. And it's also made out of a softer piece of plastic, so it is kind of bendy. But anyhow, here's a look at the rest of the legs, and Of course, we have the feet with this gold paint. And so this is the side of the figure, and we have a pretty nice profile of the face. So I think the hairpiece may be a little bit too big. I don't think his hair was just big in the film, so you know, it's not the best sculpt in terms of accuracy. But nonetheless, I still like it a lot. And over here we have the rest of the cloak piece, with all these holes and rips and tears inside the cloak. And we have this holster, this holster for his pistol, which I'll give you guys a look at a little bit later on. And moving down here to the legs. And the gold-plated boots. And so this is the other side of the figure. I just love the hair sculpting, I really don't know why, but PlayArts Kai always seem to do a great job. And down here we have the side of this beautifully painted gold gauntlet. I mean, look how shiny it is. It gives off a nice kind of glow in the lights. Looks super high quality. And moving down here to the other side of the cloak. I love the texturing. I mean, you can see it's not just completely smooth. They've actually added some texture in there, like these lines. It makes it feel a bit rough. And once again, we have the gold-plated boots. And so as for the back of the figure, we have a pretty nice look at this amazing cloak piece. Just look at all the detail. I would say the cloak piece is probably a lot more details on this original Vincent compared to the Dirge of Cerberus Vincent Valentine. I just think the paint job and the sculpting looks a lot more better here. But I will give you guys a quick comparison a little bit later on in the review between those two figures. But yeah, for the moment, this is how it looks on the original Vincent Valentine. They've just done such an outstanding job. It looks really amazing. Okay, so just a quick look at the accessories that came with the figure, if you would even call these accessories. I mean, these are older PlayArts Kai figures, never came with a lot of accessories. They're not like the newer PlayArts Kai where they come with like a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, this is pretty slim pickings. But anyhow, as you can see, we have Cerberus, and we have a hand, the whole Cerberus. And apart from that, we have the display stand inside the box, and we have the packaging. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have. But anyhow, let's take a look at how the figure holds Cerberus. So now, one thing I love about the Cerberus is the fact that it's got a real metal chain at the bottom, as you can see. So yeah, PlayArts Kai don't usually do this. They usually make the chain out of plastic, but it seems like some of these older PlayArts Kai had real metal chain. So you know, I just love that feature about the figure. It's just such a nice touch, and it makes it feel a bit more authentic. It's a great fit into his hands, and it is pretty straightforward to take in and out of his hands. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. So there's Vincent holding Cerberus. Okay, so this is a quick demo on the articulation for the figure. So yeah, just bear in mind, this is a pretty old piece, so the articulation may not be the best, compared to say articulation by the newer PlayArts Kai figures. But yeah, let's take a look at what we have here. So as for the head sculpt, we have a ball joint in there. And as I mentioned before, the hairpiece and the cloak are made out of a softer piece of plastic, so it's kind of bendy, as you can see. This piece of the cloak is on a hinge joints, and as for the shoulders, we have ball peg joints in there. As for the elbows, we have a ball hinge joints, and same goes for the wrists, ball hinge joints. We have a ball joint inside the torso, and we also have a ball joint at the waist, but this is quite a stiff joint, doesn't seem to want to move. And right here at the hips, we have these pretty loud ball ratchet joints, as you can hear. And right here at the knees, we have these double hinge joints. As for the ankle, we have a ball hinge joint in there. And as for the toe, we have a hinge joint. So yeah, that is the articulation for the figure. Not the best articulation, but it is enough to pose the figure. Okay, so this is a super quick comparison on both of the Vincent Valentines made by PlayArts Kai. So yeah, these are currently the only two that they've made, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to make a new Vincent for the new remake. Fingers crossed. But anyhow, here we have the original AC Vincent Valentine, which came out in 2013, and here we have the Dirge of Cerberus Vincent Valentine, which came out in, I think it was 2018. So yeah, this is a much superior figure in pretty much every single way, in terms of the sculpts, the paint, the articulation, accessories, just everything about this figure is so much better. So I mean, out of the two figures, I would recommend the Dirge of Cerberus. But I mean, I still love the original AC Vincent's. It's got a nice charm to it. I mean, it's still got a nice paint, nice sculpt. And as I mentioned before, I do think the cloak piece is a lot better on the original Vincent's compared to the Dirge of Cerberus. Although the Dirge of Cerberus has some additional articulation, so you can pose the cape, which is a really nice feature that the original does not have. But yeah, anyhow, here's how the figures look from the front. Let's take a look at the back. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, the cape clearly looks a lot better on the original AC Vincent's. I mean, look at all the detailing, all the sculpting work, and especially the paint. The paint is just so good on this cape. Whereas on the Dirge of Cerberus, I mean, it's still pretty good, but it just looks a bit deformed, like it's super thin here at the waist, and it kind of curves all the way out here, which yeah, I just don't think it looks as great. So this is the Dirge of Cerberus Vincent Valentine, which looks way, way better compared to the original. I mean, I thought the paint job was pretty pale in terms of the skin tone on the original, but now that I see the Dirge of Cerberus, he's a lot more pale. So yeah, there is quite a big difference here, as you guys can see. So yeah, you can make up your own decision which one you guys want to pick up, which one you guys like better. But anyhow, that was a quick comparison on both these figures, so I hope this comparison helps. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for the PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Vincent Valentine. So yeah guys, I mean, if you don't already have this figure, then I highly recommend you guys pick it up. I mean, it's a great representation of the character. It is a bit outdated, but nonetheless, it's still a great piece, and I think you would be very happy adding it to your PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII AC collection. So yeah, anyways guys, as I mentioned before, I do plan to make a review on every single figure here. So if you guys want to check it out, then be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care, stay safe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Alright, take it easy guys.